How is everyone doing today? Welcome back to On the Ball and welcome back to another round of Premier League predictions. It is myself, Ben, against Sim, predicting every single Premier League outcome. And the scores at the doors are 53 to 45 going into Gameweek 6. And the way the scoring works is 5 points for a completely correct scoreline, 1 point for a correct result. And the star man, once you pick that man, you can't pick them again for the rest of the season. It's 5 points for a goal, 2 points for an assist. Let's get into the 12:30 game on Saturday, which is Newcastle against Manchester City. A fairly big one. I've gone for 2-1 to City. Sim has gone for 1-0. Manchester City.
Got a close game. I think obviously St James's Park is a really tough place to go. I know Newcastle haven't been playing so well this season so far, even though their results are probably better than their performances at the moment. But I think this kind of game, they know how to play against City. I think last year it was 3-2, but it was a really good tactical game from Newcastle, and they got undone by the end by some magic from De Bruyne. De Bruyne might be out in this game. We know Rodri's out in this game for sure after his long-term knee injury. I see a bit of a tense affair. I know it's an early kickoff at St James's. I think Newcastle are definitely going to be sitting deep. They're going to be looking to soak up pressure. We saw Man City struggle against that against Arsenal, albeit Newcastle maybe not on the same level as Arsenal are defensively. But I do see this being a very tight game, and I've just gone for the 1-0. I think Man City will be just too good, but I've gone for a close game here.
Yeah, it's very rare for Newcastle to fail to score at St James's Park. I can't remember too many times it has happened. And against a Man City side, they know how to score against as well. It always seems to be really good games when Newcastle come up against Man City, particularly at St James's Park. But look, even with the injuries that Man City have, I can't see anything but a 2-1 victory for Man City. Newcastle, I'm not really impressed with the way they're performing, but they have more or less got over the line in the majority of games. Man City, on the back of that Arsenal game, they just seem pretty rattled after it, to be honest. They're still talking about it as of yesterday. Bernardo Silva coming out with some words and some fighting words against Arsenal. So I feel like they're going to want a response after only taking a point in that game. Playing against Arsenal with 10 men for 45 minutes can frustrate the hell out of anyone. And it definitely frustrated Man City for those 45 minutes. So I feel like Newcastle could kind of feel the backlash from that. You'll see some good attacking play. Erling Haaland is in just what form this guy is on. I think he's performing better than he's ever performed, to be honest, and that's saying something. So I don't think Newcastle will be able to keep Haaland and Man City out, but I agree. I think it will be a tight game for most, but I do think Man City will get over the line. But I envisage this being a really close and exciting game to watch as well. Arsenal versus Leicester next. Sim's gone for 3-0. I've gone for 2-0. Yeah, look, I don't think anyone can look past an Arsenal win at home to Leicester. Arsenal have their own injury problems going into it. I think David Raya, they said he'll be fit for the game, but he did miss midweek with a bit of a knock. Jurian Timber wasn't seen in training either. And also, obviously, the likes of Marino and Odegaard out for Arsenal. So injuries starting to mount up a little bit, but even so, at home at the Emirates against newly promoted Leicester, I just can't see anything but an Arsenal win. And I didn't want to go too high because you look at how pivotal Martin Odegaard is to the Arsenal play. I do think it will hurt them a bit, but even in this game, they should and they will get 3 points. But I don't think it will be as convincing as maybe some people might think.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a routine win for Arsenal. I think even if they struggle to break Leicester down, they've still got that set piece kind of cheat code in their back pocket if they need to go in that direction against Leicester. Obviously, got 5 goals in midweek, albeit against a League One Bolton, but they still, scored a lot of goals. And Ethan Nwaneri got a brace, and that will really help with his confidence. And maybe he'll play a part in this game. I just can't see Leicester the way I've seen them play so far. They do give a lot of control to the opposition. Yes, they don't have Martin Odegaard, but I still think their players are good enough to really take Leicester to the sword. So I've gone for a 3-0 win for Arsenal here.
Next up is Brentford against West Ham. Sim's gone for a Desmond here. Desmond Tutu.
Yeah, I've gone for a 2-2 draw. I think Brentford have actually played really well this season, albeit the 3 defeats against Liverpool, Spurs and Man City. They did play well in parts in those games as well. So I do think they are going to combat West Ham pretty efficiently. I think as well, London derby at home, they're going to play on the break. They're going to use their set pieces. They're going to play to their strengths. West also, they like to play out the back, and West Ham don't really like to press. So that could really help Brentford, I feel, as they try to kind of get up the pitch. West Ham have really been poor, to be honest, last few weeks. Had a really terrible result in midweek away at Liverpool, 5-1 defeat, and played a pretty strong team in that. But they do have a lot of attacking talent, and I do feel like Lopetegui needs a result on this one. And I just feel like they'll come away with something. So because of their quality in the team, with Paquetá, Bowen, I do feel like they'll be able to open up Brentford a couple of times. So I have gone for a 2-2 draw here.
Yeah, it all doesn't seem that well at West Ham at the moment, which is really surprising with the summer that they had. And the manager, after David Moyes, you would have thought that, he'll get them playing football, particularly with the talent that they have in the front line. It just hasn't seemed to have materialised as of yet. Maybe I am being a bit harsh because they have had Man City, Chelsea and Liverpool in their past 4 games, obviously coming away with 0 points from those games. They did beat Bournemouth, which I thought it was very much against the run of play, and they did draw with Fulham, which I thought was a very lucky point, to be fair, at Craven Cottage. So
Beat Palace, not Bournemouth. But yeah, it's against run of play.
Oh, sorry, they beat Bournemouth in the Cup and Palace in the league, yeah. But both of them against run of play, to be fair. But look, I just haven't been impressed with them, and I was expecting a lot better. Maybe this is the week that we're finally going to see Jean-Claire Todibo in the back line. Who knows?
He started midweek and they lost 5-1. So. Yeah. Maybe you could put the brakes on that one. It's a weird one, though, because you would have thought you'd go one of those players that just go straight into the team, but maybe they're just betting him in.
Yeah. If Postecoglou signed him, he would have been in the team like in the first week. But look, every manager does stuff differently, and they're just bedding him in. And there was a lot of players to bed in at the same go, so I can understand it to a certain extent. But him in that position, when you're playing Mavropanos every week, it just doesn't make sense.
Some suggestions: if Lopetegui doesn't get a result in the next 2 games, his job could be on the line.
Yeah. We spoke about this in the pre-match post-match reviews from last week. So, look. It's a very, very difficult game. It's a difficult game for anyone going to Brentford, and particularly a Brentford team that's playing this well. Yeah, I know, they lost at Spurs and very rightly so, but they did have their chances, even against Spurs in a game where they were outplayed. So I've been very impressed with Thomas Frank and Brentford so far this season. Johan Wissa obviously is going to be a massive miss, but I still think they've got quality to really hurt this West Ham side, and I think they're going to come away with a 2-1 wins and heap more woes onto Lopetegui and West Ham. So
Lopetegui, how long he lasted 8 games at Real Madrid or something? Was it 2 months?
Let's see if he can break the record.
We'll see.
Chelsea against Brighton next. Both of us have gone for a Desmond here, and it's really hard to split these sides. Obviously, Brighton on the back of 2 draws, which they would have expected probably more from those games, particularly after the start of their season. Chelsea's creeping into this season. I'm really liking the look of their forward line. Jackson's on fire. You've got Cole Palmer providing a lot of assists. You've got Jadon Sancho over the last 2 games provided 2 goal contributions. So they're really, I think Maresca's getting them clicking at the moment. But against the side at home, I mean, Chelsea seem to be this year better away from home than they are at home in a strange way. But this Brighton side will really put them to the test, and I think there'll be goals at both ends, and I couldn't really split the side. Yeah,
I also went for 2-2. I feel like Chelsea, they've been offered a lot of respect in their wins, especially away from against like Wolves and against West Ham. They just stood off them and allowed their good players to dictate the game and only looking for counter-attacks. I think Brighton are going to ask very different questions than those teams. Chelsea actually, funnily enough, still yet to win a home game this season, only after
2 games.
Yeah, 2 games, but lost to City and drew with Palace in their 2 home games. I just feel like Brighton are going to expose Chelsea's open nature, because Chelsea are very open, as much as they do play with a certain air of control and of a devastating front line, which I think as well, Brighton are very open. So I do see both teams catching each other out just as many times each other. As much as Chelsea have an absolutely stacked front line, I also feel like Brighton have a really stacked front line as well. Maybe with less quality, but still a lot of numbers and a lot of really good players there. So I do see a really open game, lots of chances at both ends. And you could argue if it's a toing and froing, Chelsea have the more quality, but I've just got backed Brighton to expose Chelsea a bit. So I've gone for a 2-2 draw.
Everton against Crystal Palace up next. We've both gone for the same scoreline in 1-1.
Yeah.
And what are you thinking?
Both teams just desperate for a win, aren't they? And I feel like, in a way, both teams are desperate for a win, but also I feel like both teams might be a bit scared to lose this one. Obviously, Everton being at home, Sean Dyche is under massive pressure, massive at this point, because 5 games in, 4 losses. They did get their first point of the season last time out, but Away at Leicester, it's not a great result. Albeit getting a first point on the board is always positive. But considering they were leading up until the 90th minute, he'll be really, really angry they didn't take all 3 points. Ollie Glasner side,
with the new ownership impending as well.
Maybe that'll give an air of positivity. You saw what happened.
I'm saying, with a new owner comes the manager. Usually,
that's also true.
Feels the fate.
Palace on the back of 3 consecutive draws. So despite a poor start to season in terms of no wins, they are starting to get their act together a bit, because their last 3 games, draw away at Chelsea, got a draw at home United, obviously also drew to Leicester 2-2, but probably should have won that game on the balance of play. So I feel like in this game, Everton are going to try and start the game fast that they have done in the last 3 games. But I just feel like with Palace, first of all, the way they set up, and also with the likes of Eze, Kamada, Sarr, Mateta in the front line, it's going to be very difficult for Everton to keep a clean sheet. And I don't see Everton scoring more than a goal here because of how robust Palace are. So I've just gone for a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, 2 sides that have both started the season very poorly. Palace, you expected a lot more from with the way they ended their season under Ollie Glasner last year. Yeah, Michael Elise has left, but I don't think that warrants the start of the season they've had, to be honest. And Everton, on the other hand, they've just been shocking. They've taken the lead, 2 goal leads twice, a goal lead in the last game, and still have come away with just 1 point, or I think over those last 3 games. So it's nowhere near good enough. Sean Dyche at home, has got to drill something into them, and they'll probably, out of every game that they've played this year, probably fancy their chances in this one the most, with Palace's form coming into it. But like you say, I think Palace will come to this. They'll be resolute, they'll defend well, and they'll nick a goal as well. So I couldn't split the sides at 1-1. Next up is high-flying Nottingham Forest against Fulham. Sim's gone for 2-1 to Forest. I've gone for 1-1. In another game, I really couldn't split the sides. Fulham are just a really strange team. You just don't know which side are going to turn up. And you do assume they usually save their best performances for Craven Cottage, let's be honest. But a Nottingham Forest side, which seems to be picking up points every week at the moment, I think Fulham can really stifle them and really stop them playing. And with the likes of Emil Smith-Rowe and Iwobi and Adama, who all seem to be playing well at the moment, I can see them hurting them at the other end. But how long can this Nottingham Forest run go for, to be honest? What are they on at the moment? 5
unbeaten,
They're on
2 wins, 3 draws, 9 points after 8 games.
So they've had unbelievable results. They've drawn with Brighton, they've beaten
Brighton
Liverpool
away as well, yeah. Liverpool away, last 2 away games.
They drew with Wolves at home, and they lost. They beat Southampton away. So even that tells me that drawing with Wolves at home just shows you, you just don't know what Forest team are going to show up either. So. Look, Forest are sitting nice in the top 6 or top 7 at the moment, and how long could that last for? The points got to be dropped soon, so I feel like 2 points dropped here.
I feel like they're riding a wave of confidence, and I don't know how long it'll last for, but I've just backed it to last another week and to get a win. Albeit they haven't actually won at home as well, but they're unbeaten, 2 draws at home, as you say, to Wolves and to Bournemouth so far this season.
Wolves' only point in the season coming against them.
Yeah, true. But I just feel like with the talent they've got on the front line, sometimes they're very much confidence players. The likes of Elanga, Hudson-Odoi, Gibbs White's going to be out, isn't he?
Suspended.
Didn't take that into account actually when looking at this, but. I just feel like they're riding a massive wave of confidence. Nuno's really got them playing well at the moment. And I see Fulham really struggling to keep out those forward players. And the way Forest are defending at the moment, they're being very resolute, very organised. And I'm just backing Forest to be more likely to keep out Fulham than the other way around. So I've just gone for a 2-1 win for Forest to sneak it.
Let's move on to Wolves against Liverpool at Molineux. Sim's gone for only 1-0 to Liverpool.
Yeah, Wolves obviously on a terrible run at the moment. Again, similar to Everton, 4 defeats in 5 games. Gary Neal coming under a bit of pressure, albeit I do feel like, they sold Neto. Since he's been in charge, they've sold, Neves, and they've sold so much quality has gone out of the team since O'Neill's taken over. So I do feel for him a bit. But... it's a results business, and he needs to start getting results.
You don't think he's under as much pressure as Dyche?
Well, I think Dyche has been there a bit longer, hasn't he? So probably not, but I mean, probably similar, to be honest. But I reckon Dyche is under a bit more pressure than because I think Everton are expected to be a bit better than Wolves, I would say. Because of Everton, they're a bigger club, so they always expect them to be challenging,
They're a bigger club, but I don't know. I think both clubs are a bit in financial turmoil and stuff like that. I mean, I don't put... Everton historically, 100% are a bigger club, but I don't put too much between them at the moment.
Yeah, I think Everton have got a better team, in my opinion. I think if you're an Everton fan, you always got to look for a manager who's going to get you, battling back in that top 10 and starting challenging for Europe. Obviously, a long way away from that, but until they're there, they're not going to be happy, if you know what I mean. Whereas I feel like Wolves fans, as long as they're like not getting relegated, they're probably okay.
Yeah, but if you look at the last 2-3 years in the league, Wolves have been better.
Wolves have been better, yeah. So, but I still don't think Wolves expect their team to be in the top half, whereas I think Everton do, if you know what I mean. I think Everton fans expect Everton to be in the top half. So, having said that, Wolves obviously, having started the season really slowly, they probably will look at the template that Forest gave at Anfield. Will try and really stifle Liverpool. I think I remember last year they gave Liverpool a really good game, but a lot of it was down to Pedro Neto's brilliance, and they're not going to have him in this one. So I just feel like they're a bit of a blunt instrument at the moment, Wolves, and they're going to struggle to hurt this Liverpool team. And I think Liverpool are going to struggle to break down this Wolves team, but they'll just they got too much quality in the forward line not to get at least a moment. So I've actually gone for another tight game, but I've only gone 1-0 Liverpool. I think it's going to be one of those games where they're struggling to break them down, and their resistance will break late on.
You know what I can see this being a bit similar to is the game last week against Villa, when Wolves played really well in the first half. I think they took the lead as well, and Villa just had nothing. I don't think Liverpool have nothing, but I do think Wolves will put in a really good display in the first half. But I think quality will shine through by the end of the game, and the firepower that Liverpool have, they got the options to change it as well. Whether Jota starts or Núñez starts, one of them will be on the bench. You've got the likes of Cody Gakpo as well, who can come off the bench. And I just feel by the end of the game as well, because Liverpool had Europe. They had Europe in midweek, Liverpool?
Liverpool had Carabao Cup.
Carabao Cup, in midweek. That's an extra game. So, look, I think Liverpool will start slow in this game, but I think by the end of it, it'll be a resounding victory, to be honest. So, I have gone for 3-1 to Liverpool. Next up is Ipswich against Aston Villa. Again, I have gone for 3-1 to Villa. And I've been fairly impressed with Ipswich. I think I've probably been, in terms of watching them play, most impressed with Ipswich as I have any of the other promoted sides, and I think they can give Villa a bit of a game, particularly at Portman Road. But again, I just think Villa are just going to have too much quality. I'm loving the way that Aston Villa are playing at the moment this season. I think they're putting every team to bed. They're confident. They've got John Duran off the bench, who just seems to score every game. I got a feeling on John Duran might start this game, to be fair, in a 4-4-2 up front with Ollie Watkins, which is even more trouble signs for Ipswich. But you just can't look past Villa in this game, can you?
Yeah, they've been coming back a lot, Villa, recently, and I reckon another comeback's in the offing, because I think Ipswich are going to start fast. They're 3 unbeaten at the moment, albeit it's 3 draws, but for a promoted side, that's something to build on, and I think they're going to come into the game with a bit of confidence. They're going to come flying out the traps, and I think they might take the lead. But Villa have a way of finding themselves back in games, and Watkins is starting to score again now. Obviously, I think McGinn's gotten injured, so that might hurt them, but it might give opportunities to other players. But John Duran, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets the winner. But I do see Ipswich giving them a really good game. But I just feel like Villa at the moment just finding a way to win. So I'm going to go 2-1 Villa.
All right. Sunday evening at Old Trafford. It's Manchester United against Tottenham. We've both gone to the same scoreline here in 2-1 to Tottenham. This is actually going to be a really interesting matchup, and I actually feel like with the chances that Man United are having and missing at the moment, they are creating so many chances, but they're conceding so many chances as well, and that's going to play that's going to make it a really interesting game, because I feel like Tottenham are just one of these teams when you're coming up a team that are creating so many chances and not putting them away, they'll put them away against Tottenham and they'll just end up going in, particularly at Old Trafford. We know our luck at Old Trafford. However, I'm siding on the air of positivity in favour of Tottenham. I think we can go there and get 3 points. I believe we are playing a lot better than them at the moment, and with the goals that they're conceding, I think we're going to create a bundle loads of chances against them and get a few goals, particularly with Sonny, Solanke, Brennan Johnson as well coming into form right now. So yeah, I feel like the tide could be a little bit turning for Tottenham, and the way I see this game going is Man United to have a really good first half and then Spurs to come back and really show them what we're about in the second.
Yeah, that's been a trend for Man United, being really good in first halves and then letting it slip in the second. It's happened a few times this season. And I feel like if Tottenham can just ride the storm in that first half, either be level or only be a goal behind, or even if they be in the lead, I think that would really stand them in good stead. I feel like Tottenham are controlling games a lot better than Man United, albeit Man United are creating really good opportunities in transition, but Tottenham are creating good opportunities. And I feel like they're conceding less opportunities than Man United. And I think think less goals, same amount of goals, but I feel like the chances they're conceding are a lot less, and also less dangerous opportunities. Man United, the amount of opportunities they allow the opposition, where maybe the opposition don't make the most of it, or haven't so far, is a lot. And I feel like Tottenham just have so much control most of the game. They don't allow those dangerous situations for a lot of it. So last season, Tottenham went to Old Trafford with Skip and Højbjerg in the midfield and got a 2-2 draw without Sonny as well. And, it's going to be actually quite a different team that going to Old Trafford this year. And I know this is shot before the Carabao, Spurs play Carabao, so obviously this is before we know of any injuries or whatever. But I think Tottenham are going to have just enough to win this game. I see a really entertaining game at Old Trafford because I think United are going to come out believing they're going to win.
Man, you had Europe as well, didn't they? They drew with 20.
They drew with 20. And a similar story, 1-0 up, playing well, and then they let it slip in the second half, and they could have even lost the game. So I am going to go for Spurs to get a statement win here. So 2-1.
Statement win. Come on. Last but not least, it's a South Coast derby. It's Bournemouth against Southampton. Both of us gone for Bournemouth wins. I've gone for 2-1. Sim has gone for 3-1.
Yeah, I just think Southampton are going to play into Bournemouth's hands. They only know one way of playing out the back. Bournemouth are going to press them, and I just feel like Bournemouth have way too much talent in the front line as well. I've actually got a really good front line when you look at the players they have there, Bournemouth. So I think Southampton are going to struggle to contain them. It's going to be a derby at home as well for Bournemouth under the lights. Bournemouth, I think, have a bit of a mixed season. Only one win so far, and that was a game where they were 2-0 down and it turned it around in the last minute to win. So they'll be disappointed. Also, last two games lost 1-0 to Chelsea and 3-0 to Liverpool. But the Chelsea game, they missed a penalty, and if that goes in, it's a different game, and they played well there. So, and also Southampton, they're just asking for it in this game, I reckon.
They're just asking for it.
I'm going to go for 3-1 to Bournemouth.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I do think they're asking for it. And with a Bournemouth side that like to attack, I do think with a poor Southampton defence, Bournemouth will get the 3 points. I can see it a bit tight. South Coast derby, I think both teams are going to come in really wanting it. It's going to be a raucous atmosphere there as well. But, I'm siding on 2-1 to Bournemouth. Next up, we have got the Star Men, and it's a Bournemouth head-to-head going against the Southampton defence. Sim's gone for Semenyo, and I have gone for Evan Nilsson to get his first goal in the Bournemouth colours. I feel like it's these kind of games where, he's going to break his duck. I've not been impressed with him so far. This is just kind of a complete punt, to be honest. But he's missed a penalty. He hasn't looked great, but I just feel at home to Southampton, if he's not going to score in this game, when is he going to score?
I think Semenyo's had a great start to the season. I've been really impressed with him. So I think this is the kind of perfect game to put him in and show what he can do. And even if Bournemouth don't get the result, I back him to do something. So I've got Semenyo in there.
Well, I'll thank you for the assists at the end of the weekend.
He's going to get a hat-trick, mate. And also missing chances.
Big up. That's us and Premier League predictions. Let me know your Premier League predictions in the comments section below. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.